Hi everyone, I'm Emily,
And I'm Amanda.
and this is Two Moms, One Mic.
We got a mic.
We got a mic. we're getting up there, everyone.
Moving on up.
So today is a little bit of, I would say, a little bit of a continuation from last week, a little bit
For
of
sure.
expansion because it is such a big topic, and it's a very unspoken topic. So I think we need to still be talking about it, and that is postpartum mental health. That's a huge issue. And yeah, like I said, it goes very unspoken about. And unfortunately, a lot of bad things happen when it doesn't get spoken about. So here we are again, still talking about it. And yeah, so I'll take the lead on this because I had a child 3 months before the pandemic. And you know, when you're pregnant, you have ideas of what being a new mom is going to be like. So I'm also a fitness instructor, and I work for Good Life. And at the time, Good Life had like they take care of your kid while you could work out.
Oh, okay.
So like the big dream was like, oh my god, I could go to the gym and they could watch my kid.
Yeah,
And
they had daycares.
exactly,
right?
they had
Do
the
they still have
daycares.
the daycares, or did they get rid of them
I
all
don't
'cause of-
think I don't think they ever came back.
Oh,
So that also can kind of play into mental health too, because
Yeah,
now moms
right?
can't take their kids to the gym. But yeah, so you know, you have these ideas. You're gonna go to play dates. You're gonna see people, just you know, do things.
Yeah,
Go to
do,
the
like, mom
library.
things,
Go
right?
do
Like,
mom
with your
things.
kid.
And you know, I had a 3 going on 4-month-old, and I couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
So at this point, I'm still a new mom. Like really, between your first year, you're a new mom the entire time. You don't know what you're doing, and now the government and the world has shut down, and they're like, no, you can't do anything. So this village that, you know, we hype up and talk about, saying, you know, it takes a village. Well, now you had no options. You couldn't have a village anymore.
And it's crazy because of like the amount of fear that was put into us.
Yeah,
Like
oh,
you
God.
probably didn't want to let anyone in your house because you didn't know what
Yeah.
would happen if your baby got COVID.
Yeah.
Like I saw someone post recently on Instagram, like when we used to put the Q-tips up our nose. And she was like, do you remember how we were all so stupid shoving this up our nose? But yeah, like you were scared. Like had family visiting probably through a window.
Yeah, oh yeah. The first Easter that my son had, people were on my veranda, and we have like this really sad picture. My dad doesn't even like to look at it because it's like an ET moment almost, where it's like, you know, one person's on one side and the other person's on the other side, and like that's just not how you should live.
No.
And it was a lot. So like I had my son in November. In December my grandmother died, but even after my son was born, my mom was really sick. And looking back on it, we kind of joke that she like was patient zero for COVID, because it was like, now you look at, you're like, oh, you actually had all the symptoms of COVID, but it was before COVID was a thing.
existed.
And the doctors were like, oh, it's bronchitis, oh, it's pneumonia, and they couldn't figure it out. And now we're like, maybe you were the first one that had COVID.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But
right?
so anyway, so she was really sick. So she obviously didn't want to be around my kid. And as a new mom, you're like, I just want my mom, right? Like it's like you can't be a mom unless you have your mom, and you just need that support. So that was a hard adjustment.
It's crazy, like how having a kid just makes you want your mommy.
I know. I know. So that was a really big adjustment. And then the world shut down, like I said, and then there was just like no support. And then you start having, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think about it right now. Like when you have like an expectation and it doesn't go through. Why can't I think of the word?
It's the fantasy world of like being a new mom and how like Pampers. Is this what you're trying to say? 'Cause
No,
I'm,
like, you know, like
I'm
when
all
you
about, like Pampers
when you
commercials,
have like this
not being
vision of
realistic.
what's gonna happen, and
it looks easier. It looks
yeah,
easier.
but
The
you're
world-
also like, oh, I'm gonna do mall walks and I'm gonna do this, and then you couldn't do any of that, and
Oh,
that
that-
really took an impact on my mental health during that time. Like
you couldn't do
I was raging, like I was like mom rage, and not for anything, I'll admit it. To this day, I have a 5 and 2-year-old, and I still have mom rage.
Yeah,
I don't know if
I feel like it.
I don't
feel
know
like
if
and
you
I-
ever get rid of mom rage. I don't know. If you have tips to get rid of mom rage, please let me know, because I think when you're just constantly doing it all, it's that volcano eventually erupts.
It's the fact that like even as moms we don't ever get a break. Like there's no such thing.
And during
as
COVID,
a
no
break.
mom got a break
No,
because
you
were the
had no
only
help.
parent. Exactly.
Yeah.
You had no help. You didn't have any resources. So you were on all the time. And God forbid, you know, there was a sleep regression or teething. All that stuff got like amplified to the next level. Teething was so much worse because there wasn't someone you could hand this child off to. You know, the sleepless nights were so much worse because it was just like you and your partner at the time or whatever like your situation was. You didn't have that support. And it was just, you know, I look back and I'm like, could I have been a better mom if COVID didn't happen? And these are the thoughts that I have
I'm
now.
laughing because, like, I think the same. My son was born in 2023, and I'm like, could I just have done better that whole year?
Yeah.
And, like, you're always going to feel like there was so much more I could do, but, like, you're always doing the best you can. Like, everyone needs to remember you're always doing the best you can, because I can, like, think of the mornings where he'd wake up at, like, 6 a.m. and I just wasn't ready to be up at that time, and I would drag him in bed with me with, like, a hand over him, just lying there with my eyes closed, trying to give myself, like, another half hour as a new mom.
I think, like, because I ended up having another child in 2022, and I was able to do stuff with him, and also...
Like, different things.
Yeah,
like,
you were able to do stuff. B, I had, you know, more help, and... C, I already had the experience of what it was like. I also have the guilt of, am I a better mom to my second child than I am my first?
No, don't say that. You're such a good mom to both. You're such a good mom to both.
This is the shit that goes through my mind. Like, these are the things that I think about.
Is this what, like, other moms think about? Like,
I don't know. I don't know.
Better than the
like I'm probably a whack job, but
no,
like,
I think
this
a lot
is
of
what
moms probably think about that. Like, do I give one child, like, more
because,
than
like, COVID times was such an extreme mental load, and it was so extreme, and a situation I don't wish upon anyone. And then all of a sudden, you know, you're given this other opportunity, and you're like, oh my god, like, now is my first kid gonna resent me? Like, because now you're like, well, I did this with one and then not with the other, and then these are like, this is how the clickers in my head go.
And we're so hard on ourselves, and like, I just like think back to my own childhood, and I feel like my memories started like around, like, they were splotchy at like 4 or 5, maybe 6. I'm like, okay, I'm starting to remember. So like, we're so hard on ourselves, and like, take it with a grain of salt, but like, they're not gonna remember anything.
I know. I just tell myself, honestly, I promise I'll pay for your therapy if anyone comes back and haunts you. Like, honestly, like, I'll just, when they're 18, I'll get them a gift certificate. Here's your first therapy session. If I messed you up, I'm sorry. I was also messed up.
Because I know you as a mom, I just want to say you're such an awesome mom. And because you're even questioning all of this, like, it just shows how good you are as a mom.
Yeah.
Me, like, my experience is different because I felt like I was doing a lot of things alone. Matt was out of town for like 4 months straight, maybe starting in... So Antonio was born in January, and starting in April, my husband went out of town for like 4 months straight, and from Monday to Friday. So like Monday to Friday, I was alone with like a 5-month-old, and I did it for a while, and it just got to the point where my mental health took over. And I'll never, and I'm saying the extent of this with the detail because I feel like it's so important for people to hear it. And also, I think a lot of people have felt this way, but that August, so August of 2023, I got to a point where like the thought of hurting myself sounded pleasurable. And like having those feelings go through me where it's like my brain was telling myself, like, hurt yourself, it's gonna feel good, scared the crap out of me, because I know as a person that that's not, like, hurting yourself isn't gonna feel good, but the fact that like my brain was wiring itself to be like, no, it's gonna feel good, really, really scared me. And that was when like I asked for help, and a part of me like feels like I should have probably reached out for help sooner. But you don't ever see, like, you see the commercials, and you see like moms so happy doing it by themselves, and you're just like, no, everyone else does it by themselves, so like I'm gonna do it by myself too. And it got to the point where that August I moved in with my mom.
You even think like, oh my god, you know what, I don't have it so bad because like I do have like a husband, or I do have someone that can help me. It's just that he's working. Like, there's some people that don't have that resources and they're doing it, but it's like you can't undermine your own scenario. Like, if you're struggling, if that's hard for you, then it's hard for you, and it is what it is. You don't have to be like, well, it's hard, but it's not as hard as this person over here. It's not as hard as that person over there. Like, you can't do that. Like, you need to really take care of yourself, and you need to be honest with yourself, and you need to take those steps to reach out and and
Yeah, like,
get help for that.
And like, again, like, my son was actually like a saint of a baby. Like, he was an easy baby. Like, he was cookie cutter. When he wanted to eat, he ate. When he slept at certain times, like, he was a clockwork child. It was just being a new mom and like struggling and adjusting to your new world. Like, no, I just kept telling myself before I had him, like, my life was going to be 1,000 times harder, and I kept trying to tell myself that, to be prepared to be a new mom. And yet I can say I still, like, wasn't prepared.
Yeah.
Even though I told myself this, and even though, like, again, I saw so many friends, like, I was one of the last of my friends to have kids. So, like, I saw you go through it. I saw so many friends go through it, and like, still you're not prepared. And like, asking for, I remember my mom's face because I was in person, and just the shock on her face when I was expressing my feelings. But the instant of her just being like, okay, like, move in with me, let's go, and like, me just needing people around, that's when I needed. I didn't want to be alone with a baby anymore. It was just having people around.
Yeah.
And again, I knew I wasn't going to like do anything, act on those feelings. I just needed a little bit more support, and it really made a difference. And if you're watching this and you're like, wow, I'm feeling this way, if you express to someone in your life like how you feel, like, they'll be there for you. Like, my mom and I have had a lot of conversations about like my feelings about being a new mom and my struggles as it, and she just says, you need to tell me, I can't read your mind. And like, that's what mental health is, right? It's all in your head. Like, you can post a picture on Instagram with your baby, you smiling, but no one realizes that maybe an hour later you're sitting there crying over things, right?
That's
like,
a whole other demon in itself. I honestly think that social media has, honestly, most of the time worsened postpartum mental health. Yes, there's resources. Like, look, right now we're going to put this on social media, and someone's going to listen to this and relate to it, and it's going to help them, which is great. And that side of social media is great. But a lot of time, when you're in a bad headspace and you're being pushed these like fake images of like these little highlight reels of someone's life being like the best mom ever, you're gonna feel like garbage, and then you're gonna spiral, and then you're gonna, it's just gonna keep getting worse and worse and worse. And then that's counterintuitive too. Like, you need to be very cautious when you're online, especially as a new mom, especially as a senior mom. Like, sometimes, most of the time, online is really, like, in my opinion, not a safe place for moms.
It's a facade, right? Everything you see is fake. Like, I can go and take a 15-second video of me dancing with my child, and then I could just put the TV on and sit on the couch on my phone, and everyone online might think, oh, wow, look at this mom. She spends so much time with her child.
Okay, but have you been hearing about this influencer?
Oh, is this like
it's
a
like
thing?
the new no. Like, it's like the new Gypsy Rose. So I don't know if any of you guys have heard about this. I've gone down the tunnel.
Okay,
it's really, really bad.
Okay, go.
So once again, there was this influencer. I think she was from Australia because she had an accent. I'm not sure. And she was saying, "Oh my God, look, my daughter. She sleeps for 18 hours a day. We can't wake her up. She has like brain tumors. She's having seizures. All this stuff. She had exploratory surgery. She had all this stuff. Yeah, the mother was drugging her so that they can get famous and that they could raise money.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
When I hear stories like,
and like, now that this came out, everyone's like, wow, you're a disgusting human being, which, I mean, yes, you are a disgusting human being, but so many people gave this woman money because she was putting out this fake content and literally abusing her child to create problems so that they could get like more famous.
When I hear things like this, it makes me think about like people who want a child so bad and like go through IVF and go through all the struggles to get a child, but then there's people like this that are given a child like naturally and easily, and I just, sometimes it makes me like wonder, like, the way the world works, the way God works, the way things work.
A little bit of a tangent, but I really don't think that children should be used for content.
Yeah.
And I think Instagram and Facebook needs to, I don't know, ban people that use their kids for content, but that's just me.
Yeah.
Anyways, back on track. That's just my little tangent.
The postpartum. Like, again, what you see online with kids is a facade, right?
Yeah.
And parenting, like, we online, people are showing what they want to show. Just like us talking right now, we're saying what we want to say, right?
Yeah.
We can tell you that our postpartum experience was amazing, but that wasn't the reality of it. And part of this podcast is that we want to bring like realism to being a mom, right?
Yeah.
So mine was, I struggled like being alone, I just felt like, truthfully, I definitely lost myself, like, the whole 12 months. Like, I could even say it was a blur. Like, my first month, I think I did talk about this in the last one. My first month of being a new mom, I was fixated on breastfeeding. We should talk about that. We should talk about this topic, breastfeeding. I said to myself, like, I'm going to be a mom that breastfeeds. I did so much research. I took everything, pill, like the natural, like brewer's yeast. I was eating oatmeal. I was drinking coconut water. I was drinking oatmeal milk. I was like looking up everything to like up my supply, where now I look back and I feel like I spent those whole 4 weeks not being a mom because I was so fixated on feeding the child and not spending time with him.
Yeah. No, but the idea of like even like the maternal identity is a big thing too. You know what I mean? Like it's very easy to just lose yourself. Like I remember it's like all of a sudden you have a kid and now everyone refers to you as mama. Hi mama.
Oh
hey
my gosh,
mama.
yeah.
Hi mama, you're doing great mama.
Everyone.
And I was like, I have a name. I'm like the fact that like all of a sudden my identity went from like Emily to mama, I was like, oh, okay, am I your mama? Because I know I'm my kid's mama. And it just, I don't know, like something, or like when people like, their identity becomes like, I'm a boy mom. I'm a girl mom. Like, I didn't like that. No offense to anyone who does, I do not like that. That's not who I am.
Boy mom, so I'm like laughing to myself right now. But yeah,
I fully said to people like, do not buy me that stuff. Like that's not my identity. That's a part of who I am.
Yeah.
But even before I was a mom, a boy mom, whatever other classification, I was Emily, the wife, the sister, the daughter, the Zumba instructor, the entrepreneur 100 times over that doesn't amount to anything. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's a billion other things before. Like, I don't. But that's just me. Some people love the identity of being a mom, and I love that for you. But for me, like, that's not a thing.
Yes.
It's just not a thing. And I found like once I kind of hit like the 2-year mark, that's when I started gaining my identity back. I feel like you really give yourself to your children for like a solid 2 years. Whether you go back to work or not, that first 2 years is still like you're in it. Mm-hmm. After that, like you're regaining yourself.
Yeah.
So like now that like my other ones too, I'm like, okay, we're doing things for me. Like we need to take care of myself. Like I'm doing the things, fixing my body, hitting the gym, like just doing things that make me feel like me again, because A, that's amazing for my mental health, and B, that's my identity. I can't be associated as, you know, the mom of these children. That's not my identity.
And like I think for me, I 1000% agree with you. Like I think it's important for like women to again find themselves again, and I agree. Like my son's gonna be 2 in January, and I think we'll talk about another episode, but 2024 was the year that tried to break me. So I definitely went through a whole other mental health journey in so I went through my 2023 postpartum mental health. 2024, I went through another whole mental health journey, and definitely mid-year, like I started to really work on myself, find myself, and like it's so important to like have that. And there's even my friend Amanda, she created an Instagram. Now I feel like I'm putting a plug in here, but I'm not. And she created an Instagram called Amanda's Hour, and she gives herself an hour a day. So she blocks out an hour to herself a day where it's her time. And she's a mom of 2, and it's just like, you know what? Every mom should be able to do that. Like we should be able to give ourselves an hour a day, whether you go for a walk, read a book, listen to music, something for you, because when you become a mom, it's 24/7 that you're parenting. And
you know you always see it online where it's like, you know, I stay up late because that's when I belong to myself, and then I regret it in the morning. Well, how about we stop ruining our sleep to belong to ourselves? Why not during that normal daytime hour when everyone else gets time for themselves? Let's carve that time for ourselves too.
I know you're saying the wake up, the stay up late, but I notice a lot of these, like I'm gonna call out influencers, are like, I wake up at 5 a.m. to give myself an hour, and I'm just like, good for you. If you're that person that starts your day at 5 a.m., like good for you, like pat on the shoulder. But I believe we should wake up with the sun. I don't. I work. I have a job, but like it's kind of like what I believe, and like our toddlers obviously don't let you wake up with the sun. But I mean, like, no, I don't want to wake up at 5 a.m. because my child's waking up at 6. I'll wake up at 6 with my child. I tried, like, you got to find time that works for you, and maybe the 5 a.m. works for you, or maybe 2 p.m. works for you, but you got to find an hour to carve for yourself. And
Yeah.
it's going to take time. Like if you're watching this and you're like 3 months out of having a child, hopefully.
Almost lost everyone
I know,
there.
is it still recording? Like give yourself time and communicate your needs to your village.
Yeah.
That's my advice. No one can read your mind. No one's going to assume you need help. Everyone will offer help. No one's going to show up to help you unless
Yeah.
you ask for the help.
Yeah.
You need to say, hey, I need help. And people will gladly help you. Don't feel like you're bothering people, because I definitely felt like a burden as well. People will gladly come and help you. That's
Yeah.
like, I see it now. And like this year especially, I had to ask for a lot of help. And people are there for me. Like I say that life threw me bricks, but like I had people helping me catch the bricks and like build my castle again, which is really nice. Like use and lean on your village, and
Sometimes you just need a renovation.
just building a house again.
We're just doing a renovation.
Yeah,
We're doing a
yeah.
life renovation.
I like that. Life
right?
renovation.
Life
right?
renovation.
So definitely use your people.
Yeah. So I think
we're good.
I think we're
we covered
good.
it.
Um,
And message us. Hey,
yeah, message
guys.
us.
I've had,
reach
like,
out.
definitely even like last year on my Instagram, like posting a little bit about my feelings. I had moms messaging me. Again, like you could always message us. We have ears to lend and
Yeah.
talk to all of you. And if you
We'll
have
be
any,
your online bestie.
and if you have any questions, comments, topics that you want us to talk about, put it in the comments. Send us an email, and we'll definitely get to it.
Yeah. See you next time.
Enjoy.